Hey, in this video I am going to teach you guys about surface area to volume ratio, and understanding this concept is going to be really important, especially if you want to do well in a membrane transport question in the exam, a respiration question, or even a photosynthesis question. So that's why I'm going over it in this video really in depth. And just a forewarning, this concept can be really difficult to wrap your head around. I get it. Sometimes I'm even rusty with it, which is why maybe you'll need to go back and watch this video again, or maybe find your own resources on YouTube or something like that. So, surface area to volume ratio, and I always write it like this because it's easier, but basically this just means surface area. This V stands for volume, and these little dots stand for ratio. You may have done this in maths or stats or something. Surface area to volume ratio. And basically, for a cell to successfully undergo diffusion, osmosis, any type of membrane transport, the surface area must be as big as possible compared to the volume of the cell. And you're probably thinking, what the hell are you talking about, miss? Just say we've got a cell like this, and imagine that it's 3D, because at the moment it's just 2D, it's flat, but of course cells are 3D. All of the stuff inside the cell counts as the volume. And I wonder if I can get a specific volume definition. Volume stands for the amount of space that a substance or object occupies, or what is enclosed within a container. So all of this stuff inside the cell, like the cytoplasm, all of the organelles, are the volume. The surface area is this line, or the membrane, going around the outside. Surface area. Another example, imagine us. So here's me. Actually, my hair's a bit longer than that. My volume and your volume is all of the stuff inside your body, your organs, your muscles, your bones. Your surface area is going to be all of your skin covering that volume. So I hope that explains what surface area and volume are. Now, like I just said, the cell must have the largest possible surface area compared to its volume. And I'm going to explain why this is so important. So just say we have got 3 different sizes of cell. We've got a large one, we've got a medium one, and we've got a small one. So the large one has quite a large volume, medium one's got medium volume, and the small one's got a small volume. Now in our cell, I am going to put a nucleus. And I'm going to try and make this nucleus the same size in all of these cells. So imagine that this blue nucleus is the same size in all 3 of these cells. The smaller the cell, the easier it is going to be for essential molecules such as oxygen, glucose, water, carbon dioxide to diffuse into the center. So imagine that we have got oxygen diffusing through the cell membrane. It is much easier for that oxygen to get to the center of the cell when the cell is small, or when the surface area compared to the volume is quite large. If we imagine again with this medium cell, oxygen is diffusing through, it's going to require a lot more effort for that oxygen molecule to get into the center where all of the goodies are, all of those organelles that need oxygen. or water or carbon dioxide. It's getting harder and harder as the cell is getting bigger. Now, if we get to our large cell, the nucleus is right here in the middle. That oxygen molecule has to travel a really, really long way to get to the center, and it's probably going to be essentially impossible with a volume that is this big. So this small cell has a large surface area compared to its volume. Alternatively, the large cell has a small surface area compared to its volume. And this is bad, this is good. And so when the cell is just living its life, it's going through its life processes, what it's actually doing is it is growing. And so that cell is going to keep growing, keep getting larger, filling up with water until a certain point. And usually that certain point is where the molecules can no longer diffuse into the center. And when that starts to happen, cell division is triggered. And so this cell here, this large cell, is definitely going to be too big at this point. So what will happen is it will trigger mitosis. And so that cell will turn into two smaller cells. Now they have a large surface area compared to their volume, and essential molecules such as oxygen can easily diffuse in. And then over time, those cells are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, of course. And then when they get too big, the same thing is going to happen again. And it's all driven by this ability for those molecules to diffuse into the cell. Now, I want to show you this again, but with actual calculations. There is a section on this in your SciPad, and I know you don't have your SciPad right now. So I'm going to do it for you now. Imagine that we have got two cubes. Don't judge my horrific drawing skills. And we've got 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters. And then I'm going to draw a smaller cube. One centimeter. So I'm meaning across there, that's 1 centimeter. Up and down here is 1 centimeter. And same with this one. So let's focus on the big cube first. The way that we can work out surface area is we can go 4 times 4. So 4 here times 4 here. And then we can times it by 6 because that's how many sides there are to this cube. And the answer for that is 96. So if you did that on your phone, on your calculator right now, you should hopefully get 96. And so that is going to be the surface area of this cube. That's, in fact, even we go 36 centimeters cube. Like that. Oh no, not cube, squared. Sorry. There we go. Okay, now we have to work out volume. For volume, you just go 4 times 4 times 4 because this is going to be 4 centimeters also. 4 times 4 times 4. If you did that on your calculator, you should get 64. And this time, centimeters cubed. So now we've got these two numbers. These numbers are very helpful because now we can write the ratio. The surface area to volume ratio is going to be the number that was the surface area, which was 96, and then our little ratio symbol, and then the number that was our volume, which is 64. Now, if you've done this in maths, you will know that we're not quite finished because we can simplify this ratio. Because at the number, At the moment, these numbers are pretty ugly. So what we can do is we can see how many times does 64 go into 96? 1.5 times to 1. So basically, this cell here has a surface area to volume ratio of 1.5 to 1. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that surface area is looking very small. It's almost equal. It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, which is not really what the cell wants. So now let's look at our small cell. So if we work out the surface area, 1 times 1 times 6. And if you guys are real smart, you'll just be able to do that in your head. You'll know that it's 6 centimeters squared. And then our volume is just going to be 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. Therefore, our surface area to volume ratio is going to be 6 to 1. And we can't really simplify this anymore. But can you see right away that the surface area of the small cube is much greater compared to the volume compared to the large cube? The large cube has got 1.5 to 1, but the small cube has got 6 to 1, which is what we want. This is good. The cell is happy. So if you're a mathsy person, I hope that maybe explained things a little bit better, and you could do this yourself even with different shaped cubes. And basically what it's going to mean is any molecules trying to diffuse into the small cell are going to easily get into the center compared to any molecules trying to get into the big cell. Not only that, but I have missed out a very important point. The more surface area you have, the more area there is for membrane transport to actually occur. So a very classic example is in your intestines. So, oh my goodness, this is going to be such a bad drawing. There's you, there's your esophagus, your stomach, and then of course after your stomach, all of your food and nutrients goes through your intestines, right? So here's your intestines, all of the nutrients are absorbed and then finally gets deposited as waste. If we zoomed in to your intestines, let's zoom into the wall of your intestine, you have these structures called villi. So this is along the inside wall of your intestine. So these structures are called villi. And even on top of those villi are even smaller little structures called microvilli. And what these villi are is they are extensions onto the cells that are in your intestines. And what they do is they greatly increase surface area. Greatly increase that surface area so that more nutrients from your food can be absorbed at any one time. So you really want loads of surface area. And the same thing goes for the mitochondria and the chloroplast. Remember, the mitochondria has got the inner membrane. So here's a really rough mitochondria, and it's got this inner membrane that's very, very highly folded. Well, this folding increases surface area compared to the volume, so that you're getting loads and loads of those reactions, creating loads and loads of oxygen for the organism. And the same thing goes for the chloroplast. Here's my really rough drawing of a chloroplast, and remember there are these thylakoid stacks, and what these do is they're stacked on top of each other like this to increase surface area, because that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the photosynthesis occurs. increase surface area compared to volume. And so that's why understanding this concept is really important if you want to do well in this exam, because if you throw it into basically any exam question, you're going to pick up some merit and excellence marks. All right, I think I am going to wrap it up. In conclusion, cells need a large surface area compared to its volume so that vital nutrients can easily pass into the center of the cell. Large surface area is also really important because it's going to increase the amount of absorption or transport or whatever is happening at any one time. And so this is why cells are usually restricted to being a very small size. If this video has helped, that is fantastic. If you're confused, I really recommend you go and back and watch it again. Otherwise, on my Google Slides, the membrane transport ones, on slide number 16, I have linked a couple more videos. Maybe you just need somebody else to explain it. There's one by Khan Academy and one by another guy. It's a longer video, but still very informative. So